watching the big, beautiful bill barrel forward, maybe to passage in the House, we'll see. Joining me now, and this is why this is so important, Lindsey Graham is the architect of the Senate version of the big, beautiful bill because he is the budget chairman. Joining me now is Mark Lynch, his opponent for that Senate seat. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Tara.
So you're watching everything go down, and the two people in the Senate most responsible, at least for the version of the big, beautiful bill that'll head back over the House, Lindsey Graham and John Thune. What do you think?
Well, I like some of the changes, definitely, that's come into it. And I know Lindsey knows he's in a campaign again, and he's moving to the right like he always does.
Yeah, he sure does. Wondering, the Senate larded more debt onto more, debt spending, deficit spending onto the big, beautiful bill, putting it in jeopardy of passing in the House. The Freedom Caucus is objecting to it because they know that Thune and Graham busted the agreement that the Freedom Caucus had with Mike Johnson that, look, we're not going to add any new deficit spending. Maybe you guys aren't going to cut any, but we're not going to add any new deficit spending. We're going to find savings. Lindsey Graham busted through that, which with what looks like another $635 billion or so of additional deficit spending. That's per year. Any reaction to that?
Yeah, we don't need that. I'm sorry to hear that, and that's what happens with some of these omnibus bills that gets additional pork added into it when we're trying to, get tax cuts and spending cuts, and yet they're adding in more spending.
Mark Lynch, I know you were out on the coast. I saw some of the media that you got. Tell us what you are saying to folks out there in terms of what you're talking about. What are you going to get done if you were able to win this primary?
Well, the electorate is loving our platform because we're a true American first, true conservative. I'm a true conservative candidate that'll hold the line. And, I heard you talking earlier this morning about the spending in Gaza and the millions of dollars we've sent them, and we're aiding our enemies in our budget, and that's got to stop. I'll fight to end that. And I'm glad that we heard that in the bill was defunding of illegal aliens on Medicaid, as you mentioned. That's good we got that in. I'm glad we're getting, the alligator Alcatraz deportation holding tank built in Florida and other areas. And I heard DeSantis is going to build a second one. We've got to get our enemies out of Congress. We've got to stop aiding and creating civilization jihad by paying for our own demise in America, and stop funding things that are destroying America. That's just insane. And I'll fight to do that.
Absolutely. I'm still trying to figure out how that $30 million for Hamas got in the bill under Republicans, but I guess they need new missiles to fire at Israel. I don't know. But definitely frustrating that stuff like that still gets in there. What else are you talking to folks out on the coast about this week?
Well, I'm 100% pro-life. I want to end the murder of babies in the mother's womb. Lindsey Graham got endorsed by 3 partial life organizations, Citizens for Life and Susan B. Anthony, and National Life Organization, for his pro-life stance, which is murdering babies in the womb up to 15 weeks. And plus he signed a bill and voted for having abortions legalized in 9 states up to the moment before birth. So women could leave South Carolina and go to one of the 9 states that bill was passed in and get an abortion up to the minute on the delivery table if they decided not to have the child. And, God's not happy with that. We've murdered over 63 million unborn in the United States, defenseless children in the womb, and I'll fight to end that for sure.
What do you think about alligator Alcatraz?
I love it. I'm glad we have that, and I hope we'll fill those beds up and deport those people at a fast pace and stay focused on that. I know Tom Homan's doing an excellent job in that arena.
Absolutely. What do you think about energy issues, tax issues? Texter wants to know on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
On tax issues, we need to end property tax when we own something and we have a deed to our home or a title to our car. We don't need to keep paying like a mafia fee to keep it. We need to really truly own it and end that. And tariffs, I'm so thankful Trump is getting that done. That will fund what we need to pay for our budget in our country to run our government. And if it won't, we need to continue to cut spending and get rid of more unconstitutional agencies that we have allowed to be assembled and started in our country all through the years. Our congressmen have stepped way outside of their enumerated powers and are just violating the Constitution as our framers wrote it. And we've given too much power to the government. They're involved in too many of our areas of life. And that's one thing I'll fight to end, is to clean up all the unconstitutional government agencies that have been started. And if we could do that, we could probably eliminate up to 80% of our spending in our budget and get rid of inflation and get our country back in a balanced arena in our budget again.
Mark Lynch, I want to thank you for joining us this morning on 98.9 WORD. Where can folks find out more about you?
Go to our website at lynchforsenate.com, and you can donate there. You can volunteer, contribute, give us questions, whatever you would like to do. Go to lynchforsenate.com.
Mark Lynch, thanks for joining us this morning.